You're listening to We All Go Forward, a podcast on self-leadership through setbacks. With ownership, action, and growth, be set back, only to be catapulted forward into a more progressed, truer you.
Hey, and welcome back to episode 2. I'm trying to do this at a time where I feel nice and energized. So I just came off of like a good long stretch of work and spent the weekend with some friends and family. And today I'm off and I took a little nap. Say what? Naps have been unheard of for me for quite some time, but took a little shower. Your girl's ready. I hope you guys had a great time listening to episode 1. I definitely had a great time recording it. And so I was thinking about starting this episode off with a question. And I think, yeah, let's do it. Because why not? So today's big question is, drum roll, please. I'm not going to drum roll. Do you like surprises? Yes. I feel like this is a standard question that gets asked if we're going to be friends. This is like just standard friend, family chat questions, right? Just like, I don't know. I was thinking like, what would you do if you won the Powerball? I don't know about you. My family has had that conversation about a minimum of 30 times. We all got to dream. We all got to dream. We all got to just take a few minutes of brain wasting time. And, at least one person is going to be like, I'm quitting that day. It comes with the territory, guys. So I know everybody has had the same conversation. You don't have to judge. So yes, the surprise question. I'm sure it's been in your family chat. It's been in your friends chat. Do you like surprises? And so I guess I was thinking about this question more so from the perspective, like if you are the guest of honor, right? It's your birthday or whatever it is. Are you the person that you're like, yes, surprise me. I want to have tears. I want all the ugly snot. I want to just know that somebody thought of me, even though it comes with the risk of, you know what I mean? Like, are you that, hardcore surprise person where you're like, it don't matter what I got going on. Just make sure I don't care what I look like, anything. I want to just feel the love. If you are that person, I'm going to say you're bold, very bold. So pat yourself on the back, but that's bold. That's one extreme in my mind. Okay. And then on the other side, I think we have those people, and I'm slowly rubbing my temple, my forehead. Cause I'm not going to lie, these people, if the others are bold, I find these people to be a tad special in a good way. Yes. There's those people that walk up to you. And this has happened to me a lot, and I don't understand it. And they're like, hey, inviting you to my surprise party. I do have a dramatic pause here because I'm just thinking about the tension that I feel in my gut, the anxiety, the irritation slightly to be like, it's not your surprise party. And I get wanting you to be a part of. I have to a degree. I like a bit of control. Maybe my husband will say a lot when it comes to stuff like that. But I get wanting to make sure everything comes out nicely and et cetera, et cetera. But why call it your surprise party? Why not just say I'm inviting you to my party because that's what you're doing? But okay, we're not judging you neither. And then in the middle, we have the other group, which I would say is the happy medium. I do feel like I fall here, not because I think it's normal, because I'm very not normal or abnormal in many ways, but I think I do fall here. The happy medium group are you maybe like, I like surprises, but Kim, you know what? Just make sure my hair is done, my nails done. Just make sure I look good. You might not tell me why, but then it all makes sense at the end. And ding, 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 that's me. And I'll say, I'm just thinking about this. My husband actually did something like that for our, I guess it was our wedding shower before we got married. And I will say, I'm not talking bad about my spouse, but being married to him now for almost 13 years, yes, I could truly say that I know he didn't do that alone. I've known that for quite some time. But him and whoever his people, it was my people, my cousins and sisters, they did a great job. But yeah, it was more so that he and I went out all day. And when we got back to my house, he was like, oh, hey, put this on. And he handed me my H&M bag, which back then, listen, y'all, some of y'all, I know y'all, this generation, y'all used to getting handed the Louis and the Balenciagas and all, whatever. That's fine. I'm not judging that. I get stuff like that too, but let me not lie. We get a couple things like that. But hand me my H&M bag. And for that time, we were like 24 and 26 years old, if I might add. And he got me a full price dress. The $49.99 tag was on there. And I don't have to say to my H&Mers, that's in the uppity price range, okay? He handed me the $49.99 tag with a bright red orange sales sticker on it, and I said, "Oh, he got money. This is nice." Yes, he handed me that. He was like, "Get dressed." I'm like, "Oh," and the reason why I worked so well is because I was just thinking like, I don't know, we're already engaged. I'm thinking like maybe we're going out for a nice dinner. He's a romantic type. He's a nice catch. And then we go to this place, and lo and behold, it was my wedding shower. All my family and friends, all his family friends, etc. So that was really well done, and I was really surprised. We're getting to where I'm going. I was really surprised because, I said this before. Well, I might not have said exactly what, but I'm Haitian American, very proud. Whoop, whoop. All my Zoes, and my husband is as well. So Haitian people. I'm just going to say, traditionally, in my experience, do not do very well with surprises. And I was surprised nobody told me, because people had told me plenty of stuff of other things leading up to that point, but not about the wedding shower. So I just want to talk to my Americans or non-Haitian people right now. If you are friends with a Haitian and you want to keep a surprise, it just won't work well if you tell them, or if you breathe next to them. And it sounds like I'm being dramatic, but no. It might not be all my young Haitians. Some of y'all are old heads. Y'all grumman on the low key. Y'all gonna learn some Creole probably by this end of this podcast. Well, not the end of this podcast. We going on forever. But yeah, you're gonna learn a little Creole. The grumman, or the older people, is literally the old or grand people. The grown one, yes, the older Haitians, they struggle. Some of the younger ones got the older spirit on them, but the older ones, I'm talking about the aunties and the uncles. Let's just say you're like, "Oh, we're gonna throw a party for Aunt Jenny, Tati Jenny, Tati Manushka, you name it." Let's say if it's their 70th, 80th birthday party, we said we're gonna throw a party for Auntie Jenny. And you said, if you tell them, please don't tell them, it's a surprise. Now, you saying the standard reasons of why not to tell them, because I want to keep it a surprise, because I spent a lot of money, because this means a lot. That don't matter to them. So just save that. You have to go for the dramatics and go for the jugular. And so if you tell them, okay, well, if you tell Auntie Jenny, so Auntie Jenny, I don't know, her head is going to pop off, literally. The brain will just spill out. Her arm will fall off. The baby toe will shrivel. And I know a lot of you are thinking, "Kim, this is absurd." It's not, okay? There's actually this really good meme, I guess, online that sums up Haitians and storytelling perfectly. And I'm just going to create the imagery for you. On the left, it shows like a person where there's a cat, like a little domestic house cat that's on them. And the person's like, how regular people tell stories. And then next to it is a picture of a man with a full-grown lion on them. And it's like how the Haitian person said the story went. And there's no truer truth on the internet. So me saying that Auntie Jenny toe is going to shrivel up you're not going too far, folks. You got to tell them all the lies. They might consider not telling, but I promise you, the second you hang up the phone and say, "Don't tell Auntie Jenny, no. You tell them, don't tell, they are going to dial up Auntie Jenny in about 0.5 seconds. They're going to dial her up. And when she answers, they're going to say, "Auntie Jenny, your party is this Saturday." And I'm equally annoyed. I know some of you, the annoyance just rose up in you. And I don't know what it is. The Haitian people, please just don't deny it. It's just what you do. I think they are collecting taxes or paying taxes. I don't know which one is the biggest motivator. They file a W-2. They work the 9 to 5 of telling surprises, telling the secrets. And they do it well. They do it very well. Yes. And so all that to say, perhaps, that was the most dramatic introduction. But I was genuinely thinking about that question. But now I'm laughing at myself. I'm sorry. Perhaps Haitian people are ahead of the curve Just understanding that they hate surprises. Because in today's episode, we are talking about, you guessed it, setbacks as surprise. That's Creole for a surprise, for surprises. And yes, Haitian people clearly don't like setbacks. So I will say bravo in that regards, because they are the terminator of setbacks, potentially. And so, yeah, we're talking about setbacks in the idea of seeing them as solely surprises. And that makes sense, right? Because in episode 1, we defined them as undesirable, unexpected outcomes, and they're also inevitable. I'll just throw that in there just in case you guys needed to be reminded and said one more time. I do imagine there could be some people thinking right now, okay, Kim, what if, I'm dealing with some hard moments that were not a surprise, right? Because I kind of like joked about this, but it's serious. Like in episode 1, about causation, I think I might have said about if you robbed a bank, or let's say if you walked up on somebody and you shot somebody, pow, and then the cops come. I was just simply pointing out, you cannot say, oh my God. I'm surprised that they came and got me. And again, I said that in a joke, but let's say that you are someone who have dealt with going through a period in your life where you hurt someone, or whether physically or emotionally or relationally. And you're saying, okay, no, I caused what has happened in my life. And we said that that's more so a consequence. What I want to say here is that, yes, for the most part, we do talk about setbacks and have defined setbacks in terms of things that are unexpected and are typically surprises. However, it's really important to point out that what we talk about in that regards can often still apply a strategy to the opposite. Because the truth is, we all will fall on the side of being the one causing things that set us back. It may not be a setback in the way that we defined it in terms of surprises, but it's definitely something you can cause something that leads to consequences that are almost always or often a setback in a certain area of life. And so you're still going to need these same strategies are arguably throughout this podcast to help navigate through that. I would say sometimes even more, because I think we're hard on ourselves even when we're not causing anything, right? Even when we've done our best. And, let's use some specific examples as we're talking here, because these are real life situations. Let's say in a marriage, you have done your very best. You've done all the right things, and not all the right things like you're perfect, but you have tried to be faithful. You have tried to honor your spouse. You have tried to uplift them, and your spouse, cheats on you, does you wrong, decides to ask for a divorce. And that way, that is a huge surprise to you because you were not expecting that. So there's that side of the spectrum. But as I said, we will all, maybe not in marriage, but maybe in business, maybe not in business, but maybe in parenting or in family, maybe in friendship, maybe at work. There are a myriad of examples of when we may be the person that's out here doing things that merit a consequence. And so when we set ourselves back, we will be hard on ourselves, and we will need to learn how to navigate through that. And quite honestly, it may not be, there is still a degree of surprise, because I think, like, going back to that example of, and this really kind of means something to me, because as I said, the reason why I started We All Go Forward Anyway had to do with mindsets that I saw in Philadelphia that caused people within their low expectations for themselves and others to behave in a way that would cut their potential short, cut other people's potential short. I think a person who experiences that, the hope is that at some point, while dealing with the consequences, while hopefully trying to rehabilitate, that there is a degree of remorse. And in that remorse, I'd expect in your reflections, and you're like sitting down and kind of like looking, how did I get here? That part is what's unexpected. Yes, you may have done something that the consequence is not unexpected, can't be unexpected. You can't, use that card. But I think the how did I get here? How did I become this person? That part could be unexpected and a surprise in terms of how did life how did I allow myself to become this person, to work and unravel in this direction? And so, I would say this is wholeheartedly for you, because it's for all of us. And like I said, we are all both people in some scenario. And some of you are saying that's an extreme example. It's extreme for you. It's a reality that a lot of people are living. And like I said, you may cause injury to yourself or to others in another way, and it still matters. So, don't go thinking with a rigid mind that, I currently don't have any setbacks in my life that are surprises. They all expected, Kim. I signed up for all of them. And that might be the truth. But I'd say if they're not a surprise, you will have setbacks that are fully a surprise, like that you didn't contribute to in any way. And if not, there are other people in your life, perhaps. Listen for them, right? That's what We All Go Forward is all about. If you go and I go, we all go forward. Remember that part? There might be somebody who needs help in this area. And so you can be an asset in that way, or direct them this way because you took a listen to it. So with that said, I'm going to take a little time sharing my theory on what our big issue is with surprises, aka setbacks, because then the tips on how to make a U-turn from a setback will make so much more sense. So why do we hate surprises? What's weird about it is, if someone asks us, do we recognize that in life there's this degree of unknown? There is a level of just things are not guaranteed, regardless of what efforts you put forth. I think we would, if you're realistic, you would say yes. So that means, as a parent, do you understand that if you put your child in the best schools, in the best neighborhood, if you read all the parenting books, if you did all the gentle parenting, no jab at gentle parenting, just mean if you tried to do the opposite of what my Haitian mama had to do sometimes in terms of lighting our butts up, and you just tried to take a different, more mature approach to communicating and dealing with your children. If you did all that stuff, of course you can be perfect, but you just tried your very best. Do you understand that your child may still go down a path that you don't prefer? And if we ask all married couples that if you, today you're in love, this is the best person since sliced bread. Remember when we used to say that? That was a good saying. But yes, if someone said, you're married today, you're in love, and do you understand that outside of dysfunction, like even if there was no dysfunction present, that couples still do get divorced? I think we all would say, yes, we understand that. Same thing with business owners. You could put in all the right investments, do all the right research. Do we understand that some businesses still fail? Again, I think we would all, with a resounding sound, yell, yes, we get this. And so we can express that, yes, with a composed voice and mind right now. But often in a setback, composure may not even make the list. And believe me, I understand that just because we know something in theory, or we know something in common sense, or even previous experiences, that's not going to negate how we may feel and express all the emotion in real time. So I'm just taking us down this road of just, exploring those feelings of how we can understand something so clearly, yet in the moment when we go through it, we can forget so much. And it's not that we're not allowed to feel slighted. It's not that we're not allowed to feel pain. It's not that we're not allowed to feel emotions of anger. All of that stuff is very normal. So let's just put that out there right now. It's very normal to be pissed. Okay, if we have a setback. But I think, remember from episode 1, this is all about our responses and what will we decide after we go through all those initial emotions. How will we lead ourselves? And so why don't we like surprises? I personally have a theory, and I think it applies to all human beings, no matter your walk of life. And even if you think it doesn't apply to you right now, or you've matured to a place where you understand what I'm about to say, I think at some point of your life, you may have related to this line of thought, and experience must be how you kind of just progress out of it where it's not like your default thinking, if that makes sense. Okay, so here it goes. My theory is that we all deal with a sense of entitlement. And please don't take that as a malicious word. I think it makes sense a lot. Like, it makes a lot of sense that despite what we understand about life and how life can suck and there can be surprise setbacks, we still tend to default to this thinking of, I was entitled to know that I would have a certain outcome. And the reason why it makes sense is we can kind of sum it up in terms of like the principle of sowing and reaping. And what that translates to everybody, no matter your walk of life or your belief, is that, hey, I put in an input, then in that case, I expect a certain output. I'm not even asking to get an output that doesn't relate. But if I put in a certain input, there is an output that correlates. You guys feel me? You get where I'm going? It's not delusion. It's not, people who are just, entitled, how we typically think of this sense of the word, like they think they're entitled to something that they didn't even work for. It's not that. It's just that our brain, we're intelligent and we feel like, okay, this is what I've done. Like if I take 2 slices of bread, put peanut butter and jelly on it, I get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Make sense? You feel like, Kim, I put in A, I put in B, hence it should equal C, and there's no doubt about it. And guess what? You are not wrong most of the time. However, you know what's crazy? Just like we need, interdependence is very important. We need people, we need others to say, hey, you ain't right. Hey, you got a speck in your eye. Hey, by the way, you're going on the wrong path. Is the same way. So the same way, like this whole podcast is about having others help set us on the right path. We have to understand the other side of that coin. Other people muddy up the water, y'all. Real bad, real good, I should say, real good. And so while you're doing A and B, and that should equal C, a lot of times, it's not just your input, it's the environment around your work, right? It's like, think about a farmer that's planting. You planting the seed, you did everything you were supposed to do. But if the weather is not right, if animals come and tear up your stuff, I'm not a farmer, so I don't have all the right terms right now, then you may not get C. Or you may not get it at that time. You may not get it in the same way. You may lose a lot of what you put in to gain. And so we have to understand that people, external factors, just etc., our environment, whatever, also contributes. It's putting into that pot of what your output is going to be. And that's exactly why you can't always say that you're going to get a certain outcome. And that's exactly why we get surprises, right? You could be driving down the street in your car and you're following all the rules. You're following all the laws. But if somebody decides to come as a drunk driver or somebody who's not paying attention and they run a red light, what's going to happen to you? A surprise setback that you didn't contribute to, but you were there and you are in the same space as them. And it can even get more personal. You can be, a business owner who has partnerships and you're doing everything by the book. But if you have someone around you in your environment who is not, then before you know it, you're dealing with, lawsuits, scams, bankruptcy, etc., you name it. And so, yes, there is a degree of, it's very important to keep doing what is necessary to be done. But Dr. Darius Daniels, who clearly I love and quote so much, he says, and I love this saying, but I take it a little bit further in terms of how it applies here. He always says, you can plant the seed, but only God makes it rain. And I think he says that so that way we could feel a sense of lightness in terms of you don't have to worry about that. You don't have control over that. And that word control is so important because that's really what I'm talking about here. When we want to have the foreknowledge, right? When we feel entitled that, hey, I did this, so I should know that this is exactly what I'm getting and anything else makes me throw a tantrum, it's because to a degree, my theory is that control has always been the issue. We want control over every outcome, even the ones that we self-profess to know that we don't have control over. The problem is, you can't have control over that. So the only thing you control is preparation. And that's really what we're coming down to. Meaning this, if you're a type of person that you're listening to all this, you're like, well, you know what, Kim, guess what? If I can't expect that, what I do is going to give me the right input, why should we do it? I know it's y'all like to say, well, nobody's thinking that. There are people, y'all. I mean, y'all, there are, again, we got some, I'm going to call them, we got some brothers and sisters and some cousins, okay, who will just blow it all up. If you got me thinking that it's not going to go my way, EFF it. Gotta keep it PG, but whatever. You know what I mean? Then I'm not going to do anything about it. But that's the wrong mindset, because here I go taking that statement a little bit further. Yeah. If you're thinking me planting my seed, whatever, that's not going to give me the output, so I'm not going to do that. Well, guess what? It's only the person who tills the ground. It's only the person who plants the seed. It's only the person that gets everything set up properly that when it does rain, they are the only person that's going to reap a harvest. So when you decide that you don't want to get prepared because of the fact that you don't have, quote unquote, control over the outcome, then essentially you're putting yourself at risk that when and if things do go well, you're not going to reap the benefits because you have not set yourself up. Excuse me, I'm struggling to get that word out. You have not set yourself up. Oh my goodness, y'all. Y'all not going to judge me for that, are you? You have not set yourself up to reap it. And it makes so much sense. When it comes to surprise setbacks, so let's make this all connect. When it comes to surprise setbacks, we're not going to have the foreknowledge that it's coming. However, the only way you can be sure of how you'll respond, that you'll respond in a way that remains healthy for you, you'll respond in a way that is emotionally mature for you, you respond in a way that's going to help you get through it, is if you prepare yourself ahead of time to deal with the setbacks, deal with the fact that you'll have surprises, but also work through it. We want fake preparation. We often don't really want to be truly prepared. But a person who is truly prepared is a person who recognizes the following. One, you're a person that recognizes that I'm going to be prepared because I understand surprises happen. Beautiful. Got that out the way. But two, I would say the most beautiful thing about a person who embraces preparation is that you recognize that I may not use everything that I'm doing to prepare myself right now in this season, in this moment. I may not have a surprise setback right now, but it's not in vain. This is really important. And this is what separates those of us who navigate things well versus don't. You can't see preparation as a waste. If you're constantly seeing it as, I'll deal with that when I cross that bridge, well, it's too late. If that's when you're going to want to get a paddle on a boat is when the ship is sinking, you're too late. You have to be prepared so that way if it never happens, great. That's what we want. And if anything, as I'm talking, I'm thinking that's what our problem is with preparation a lot. Because sometimes I think there's a degree of fear with not everyone, but certain people, that me preparing is me saying that things are going to go wrong. No, you preparing is, if it does, I hope it never does. I hope I never have to deal with loss or grief. I hope I never have to deal with losing my business or losing my job in the middle of a pandemic. I hope I never have to deal with my children giving me aneurysms for how their behavior is. I hope I never have to deal with et cetera, et cetera. But if I do, if I don't get into that school I applied to, even though I bust my butt, if I don't get that promotion that I work so hard to, I have done the work so that way it won't break me. I'll have peace that whatever I didn't get wasn't due to my lack of preparation or my lack of confidence. And when a new opportunity presents itself, guess what? I'll be the most qualified person in the room. And lastly, but potentially most importantly, when I am met with that bad news or that disappointment that I didn't get the job or the school, the probability of me understanding how I will respond will be high. And it's funny because that's the closest we can get to predicting our future. If you decide today how you'll prepare to deal with surprises, how you prepare to deal with things that won't go your way, you can very highly predict and have a foreknowledge as to how life will go for you because you've done the work. And so I think we're going to stop there for this episode. We are going to put our tips and our fun fact, didn't forget about that part, in a part 2 for this episode. It only makes sense. I think that'll really give us time to delve into the intricacies of each tip and to hopefully really help somebody. I want us to walk away helped next time. So thank you so much for tuning in today. You are officially free. Enjoy this new music. And thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Remember, as we move in the right direction, that is forward and progressing, never stagnant, we become a resource to help others move in the right direction as well. And the cycle continues, but only if we move. If you go and I go, then we all go forward. Let's get moving.